On today's installment of Week in Wankshop, I'm going to be breaking down one of the most elusive Mastodon riffs of all time, the intro to Divinations. Check it out. Hey there guys, and welcome to this week's installment of Week in Wankshop. Here's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. You guys know I love me some Mastodon, and you guys have been requesting that I break down the intro of their song Divinations for months now, so I figured I'd finally give in and give you guys what you want. For everything I can tell, there's no 100% accurate covers or lessons or tabs for this on the internet, and even a couple of years ago, Bill and Brent did a thing for Guitar World where it showed them playing the song, but they never really wrote down exactly what's going on with the riff. So I did a whole bunch of detective work and figured out exactly what's going on. It's really hard to tell what's going on with this riff because there's so many open strings and unison notes and the hybrid picking thing and all that, just like a lot of other Mastodon riffs. So it wasn't easy to figure out, but what I've come up with here is accurate. But of course, before we break it down, let's hear it again at stepdad speed. And of course, you guys can find a full tab for this week's lesson over on my Instagram page. Be sure to give me a follow over at Ben Eller Guitars. Find the tab for this week's lesson, learn how to play it, then upload a video of yourself shredding through it, along with the hashtag WeekendWankshop. Okay, first things first, this song, like a lot of other Mastodon tunes, is in D standard tuning, or what I like to call sad but tuning. So that means you're going to need to tune your guitar D, G, C, F, A, D. Okay, one small thing to keep in mind about this riff is that the very first time you hear it, there's a pickup note that Brent plays, that very first note you hear right there, that is never used again. It's only the very first time through the riff, right after the banjo intro, when you hear the guitar for the first time. So you're going to have this kind of extra hammer-on pull-off only the very first time. It never comes back again, so keep that in mind. Okay, so to start with, what I'm doing here is I'm playing the 5th fret D string with my 3rd finger. And again, this is the pickup note that's never used again, so ignore this with all other iterations of the riff. But what we're going to do for the very first time through here is to start off by playing the 5th fret D, hammering on to 6, and then pulling back off to 5. Just like that. You've got to use your 3rd and 4th fingers. After this, use your open G string. And again, this is really confusing because it's the same note that you just pulled off to. So it's really hard to hear that that's what was going on. I only really noticed it after I got up to the higher section right here that he was using the open G. But anyway, so you get your hammer-on pull-off, your open G. Next, what you're going to do is to play the 4th fret B string here, and then your open G, and then your 5th fret D that you're already holding down. So now you have, again, lots of unison stuff here. Next, what you're going to do is to use the open high E and the open B. A lot of times I see people miss that open B string right there. After this, what we're going to do is to play that 5th fret D string, the 3rd fret G, the 5th fret D, and then the open B. It's really all over the place. It's a really confusing riff. Play this again for you. And like I said, only the very first time will you play this at the front of it. All the other subsequent times, you're just going to play 6, pulling off to 5. And then everything else as usual. After you play through that 4 times, what you're going to do is to relocate the entire riff further up the neck. This is something that Mastodon does all the time. It doesn't really make any sense from like a theory kind of standpoint a lot of the times. It's just basically taking a pattern and moving it somewhere else onto the neck of the guitar. In this case, we're going to be kind of here in the 7th position. So our first finger is going to be located at 7, and our third finger here is going to be starting off on the 9th fret on the D string. Now again, you don't do the pickup note like we did before. You're actually going to begin with the 10 pulling to 9. And then if you can imagine everything else taking place exactly like it did down here, that's all there is to it. But let's break that down too. So I'm starting off here by playing the 10 on the D, pulling to 9, then the open G. Again, that was the giveaway to me that he was using the open G string, is right there. So 10 pulling to 9 on the D, open G string. You're going to fret the 8th fret B here, open G, 9th fret here on the D. Then you're going to play the open high E, open B. So now you have this. And then you're going to play that 9 on the D, 7 G, 9th D, open B. Again, lots of unison notes in here. That's why it's so dang hard to figure out. And just back down to the 5th position. Now, of course, we got to talk about the right-hand approach with this riff. Learning Mastodon songs is really what actually got me good at hybrid picking. So if you work on this with the proper hybrid picking style, it might improve your playing too. Bill Kelleher from the band, whenever he plays it, he doesn't do hybrid picking much. He mostly just plays it with his pick. And you can do it that way too. But using your fingers adds a little extra, I don't know, a little extra touch to the riff that just makes it sound more accurate, more like what Brent plays. Now, Brent plays this with his pick and his middle finger and his ring finger to do some of these rolls here. It seems like, especially over the past few years, he started using his ring finger a lot more, much like a banjo player would, which is what he started with, so that makes sense. But myself, I just play it using my pick and my middle finger on my right hand. So you can use your ring finger for some of these high E string parts if you want to, but that's not the way that I'm going to show it. Now, the way that I like to play right here is going to start off with a downstroke, followed by another downstroke on that G. And then this is where the first of the rolls comes in. Now, these rolls are played like this. Using your middle finger, play the B string, on the 4th fret that is, upstroke on the G, downstroke on the D. That's the roll, hybrid up, down. That's pretty common to see in a lot of country players. It wouldn't be a bad idea to sit there and practice that like a triplet. Hybrid up, down, hybrid up, down, hybrid up, down, just like that to get a hang of it. So anyway, 2 downstrokes, then your roll, and then the next one I do is a roll as well. Hybrid on the high E, upstroke on B, downstroke on D. So that's still hybrid up, down. And then the last part, I like to do hybrid picking here on the G3, downstroke on the 5th D, hybrid on B, and that's pretty much it. And the same thing up here, of course. Exact same fingerings and stuff for the right hand. Now, Brent, again, he'll use that ring finger sometimes, and I think he's pretty much just doing that whenever he does the roll up top, like where he has to hit E then B, whereas I'm going hybrid up, down. I think that Brent is going ring middle, down. Because watching that Guitar World video, his hand is pretty stationary. You never really see his pick dart down to the B string like that. But that's just what I'm kind of more comfortable with, so that's what I go with. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Good luck. It's really confusing. It's one of those ones that as I was kind of learning it and stuff for this video, after I sat down and played it, 10 times in a row, I felt like my brain was going numb. It's a real finger twister to play, so good luck. It seems like there's pretty accurate tabs and lessons out there for some of the other riffs in the song, so you should be able to follow those just fine. But I just knew that first riff really needed some addressing to make sure it was accurate. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You guys can also follow me on Facebook over at facebook.com/UncleBenEller, and you can follow me on Instagram at Ben Eller Guitars. Also, if you're interested in booking some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email, benellerguitars@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you lickety-split. Thanks again so much for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for another episode of Week in Wankshop next week. Also, if you happen to be in the Knoxville area this week, be sure to swing by the Rhythm and Blooms Festival Saturday and Sunday, where I'll be playing with the incredible Andy Wood as the Andy Wood Trio. Should be a lot of fun. So if you're in Knoxville, come say what's up. See you guys next week. Cheers.